I sent you two videos, so if you go to Canvas to the dashboard, you'll see module 5 and 6. There's a couple of videos. So there's one strange one in there I pulled up. It's she froze the tomatoes. Obviously you can't throw that in the salad because they get a little mushy, but the skin sloughs right off. So the technique is to remove the core. And just like I'm cutting on my hand here on the back side, it is a fine line. To mark the tomato. Here you go. It's going to go into boiling water. Okay. And what I have ready here is some cold water with a slotted spoon. And I know that you almost invariably, every single student will ask me, well, how long does it go in the boiling water? Well, it depends on the ripeness of the tomato, what variety it is. And you're not cooking your tomato, you're just blanching the skin really quickly. They're almost ready. Does anybody have anybody with diverticulitis? Anybody know what that is?
Diverticulitis?
Diverticulitis. So seeds are your enemy, especially in your gut. So if you or one of your family members has an issue, it's very nice to remove the seeds so they don't get stuck in your intestines. So, if you notice how easy it is to peel your tomatoes, my chef made me do 5 cases one day, and the acid from the tomatoes burned the skin on my hands. So if you're going to be doing a lot of canning, a lot of tomatoes, make sure you cover up your hands. So you notice how quick that was? You can save the skins. You can dry them to make tomato powder. You can sprinkle it on the plate or on top of a dish. It takes a day or two in the oven, low temperature to dry. And then you can grind it into a powder or chop it. All right, so what do we do now with this tomato? How do we process this tomato? Any suggestions?
Chop it.
Chop it? Okay, so if I cut this tomato, how do I get the seeds out of it? So do I cut it like this? Or do I cut it like this?
I've always done north to south, and then into quarters, and then just kind of swipe the knife on the under section to get like the under, like the pith out with the seeds.
Okay. So I'm going to save you some time and energy. So I'm going to cut this tomato in half and show you what you were telling me. Okay. And if I cut the tomato this way, to the equator, you notice how all the segments are open here. So that way, I've removed the seeds. By cutting it from north to south or to the poles, I've only opened up 2 sections. So the rest of the seeds will be stuck in there, and then we'll have to mash it. By cutting it through the equator, if I want to stuff this with wild rice or spinach, I take my spoon, and that way I open it up so I can stuff it. Suggestion would be to cut a little piece on the bottom so that it lays flat on your plate. So that's one way of processing your tomato.